So I have an interesting article for us today, and it's coming from the New York Post, and it's about a landlord who has gone through so much trouble with the COVID-19 eviction moratoriums that they are now homeless and living in their car. So obviously there's a lot of landlords who are struggling. A lot of them are smaller landlords, such as myself. And the case of this one here is one of the worst that I've heard yet, where the landlord has been forced into such a bad situation that they don't even have a home to live in themselves. I've already gone over articles where landlords have been forced into, food pantries to get food and, other horrible situations. But this is about the worst one that I've read so far. So let's get into this article. Landlord homeless, unable to evict a deadbeat tenant thanks to the COVID law. A Brooklyn homeowner, unable to evict an allegedly deadbeat tenant because of new state housing laws, claims she has been forced to live in her car for weeks. Shauna Eccles, 30, says in court papers she sleeps on the couches of friends and relatives whenever she can and in her four-door Toyota when she can't, after fighting and failing for months to evict Sharita Patterson, 33, from the two-family home in Canarsie. Now that's the kind of situation right there that I've been talking about for quite a while. And, tenants groups, all that, they believe, all landlords are rich. And that's just not the case. Okay, so once again, you get to hear straight from a newspaper article the truth about the situation, that a lot of landlords are struggling throughout this pandemic. And it says, there is no one I can stay with until I'm able to evict, and all of my money covers the mortgage, water bill, and property taxes, Eccles told the Post. If anything gets cut off, it will be considered an illegal eviction. I have no additional funds to rent an apartment. So yeah, she has to maintain this place while the tenant isn't paying, because according to the state law up there in New York, she would be, doing an illegal eviction if she didn't at least keep the power and the water and utilities on for the tenant, even though she is so destitute that she's living in her car. That's how ridiculous this is. There's no exceptions. There's no way she can get to the court and even have them look at this case. So, for more than a year now, these eviction moratoriums have been going on and landlords have been struggling like this. Thanks to the state's pandemic-inspired eviction moratorium and recently enacted housing regulations, Patterson has until at least May 1st before any New York housing court would even consider a case against her. So it's March right now, so at least 2 more months before she can even get to the court. Can you believe that? That's because she checked a box on a hardship declaration form claiming she's been financially impacted by COVID-19 and is unable to move. Under the new rules, New Yorkers had until February 26th to fill out the form, which automatically pauses their evictions. So all you have to do is check a little mark on a form. You don't have to prove that you've been facing hardship. If you just decide that, hey, I just don't want to pay rent anymore, you check that box on that form, they can't evict you. That's how it works in some places, okay? Patterson, who allegedly owes $14,700 in back rent. $14,700. That's the kind of money that you will never, ever, ever be able to recover. Not from tenants like this. On the 2-bedroom pad, bought a new car during the pandemic. So this lady bought a new car during the pandemic. She had enough money to get a car, obviously because she wasn't paying rent. But she did not have enough money to pay her rent. So I'm going to throw this lady's picture up because it was in the article. And I want you to see what a bad tenant looks like. Here it is right here. So as you can tell, it looks like, she has her hair and nails done and she's got her toenails painted and, makeup and, little outfit on. If you even look at the picture, you can also see she appears to be in the house that the landlord has renovated. And the place looks like it's in good shape. So she's staying at this place for free. Meanwhile, she's still able to go out and twerk or whatever the heck she's doing in this picture. And the city's Department of Social Services recently told Eccles that Patterson has rejected their offers of rental assistance so she could find a new apartment, the landlord claims. So the social service department with the city is trying to help her find a new apartment and is going to give her rental assistance, and she turned it down because she knows she can stay for free. The hardship declaration seems to be a free pass, the landlord said. They don't have to prove it, and they don't allow us to challenge it, said Eccles, who has been trying to evict Patterson since August. Eccles bought the two-story semi-detached home on East 91st Street for about $477,000 in February 2019, spending her savings to renovate it, turning the somewhat run-down, barely 1,500 square feet structure into an updated, modern home. So yeah, she went through, she spent all her money renovating the place, getting started real estate investing, and I've done it. And when you're first getting started on your very first property, that's when you're at the most risk. Okay, once you have a few properties built up, you're in a little more stable position. But when you're first getting started, if something doesn't go right, something like not getting paid rent since last August, well, that's enough to basically shut you down permanently and apparently put her into living in her car. Patterson, who was supposed to pay $2,100 a month, was her first tenant. Without any rental income for months, Eccles thought she was close to legal settlement with Patterson in December. Believing Patterson was about to vacate, she rented the home's first floor to an elderly woman and moved out to temporarily live with friends. So, yeah, she kind of did screw up a little bit there. She thought that the Patterson was about to vacate and she was going to move into that empty unit, and then she rented out her unit. And she probably shouldn't have vacated until after Patterson was out of the place. So that wasn't that smart, but considering she's a brand new landlord, it sounds like it's understandable, and you think everything is going to go right, and it just didn't. When Patterson backed out at the last minute and signed the hardship declaration, Eccles was essentially left homeless. One neighbor said, "I have seen her in the car in the driveway." Another neighbor, who has heard the two women arguing, said it's very unfortunate. She said she was the first in her family to buy a house. And looks like the article has a picture of the lady, sitting in her car. And, here, I'm going to throw it up on the screen as well, just so you can see what she looks like. And, I really do feel for her, like when I got started in real estate investing, I did the house hacking thing where I actually lived in one of my rentals, and fortunately everything worked out. There wasn't a pandemic going on at the time. So, but, there was always this fear that somehow something was going to go wrong. And in this case, it went wrong. So, she said she bought the place for $477,000. And usually when you're buying a two-family home like that, you need to put at least 20% down. So, imagine that, she had $80,000 plus just in the down payment, plus whatever it cost to rehab the place on top of that. And so she probably had saved up a large chunk of money thinking, hey, I'm going to be a real estate investor. I'm going to have a place to live. And it didn't work out that way. And now she's living in her car. Oh, my goodness. There were times when Shauna was scared. Patterson, a mother of three, has allegedly threatened Eccles, filed 51 false complaints about the building with the city, flooded the bathroom, leaves dirty diapers and trash around the property, broke the front door lock and replaced it without giving anyone else the key, blocks the driveway, and runs an illegal candle business out of the apartment, the landlord claims in legal papers. Wow. Sounds like a nightmare tenant, one who just, doesn't pay, etc. The one thing I can say is that with proper tenant screening, this lady wouldn't have been in the place in the first, been in my house in the first place. So I believe that probably part of the issue is that, this is a new landlord. She didn't properly screen this lady. And, if she had done a better job screening, she would have not even put this lady in the first place. And so, I realize at the same time she is a new landlord. So that is a mistake a lot of new landlords make, but she is really, really paying the price right now. Patterson has accused Eccles of harassing her, according to court papers. The tenant could not be reached. The case highlights a terrible lack of balance between the rights of landlords and tenants in New York City, and is a prime example of the state government's failure to properly address the housing situation, said Eccles' lawyer, David Gerard. He said small landlords are in truly unfair and untenable situations. And I agree, okay? Unfair and untenable situations, especially in states like New York.